Hey Storm Nation, we're here at the lanes at Storm HQ to talk about the next evolution in the Equinox series. This past February, we launched the Equinox with the tri-cylinder Solarion A.I core and A1S cover stock. You've wanted more hook, more traction, more mid-lane for those higher volume oil patterns. Our R&D team has delivered. They've developed the new A2S cover stock, which pushes the limits on oil absorption, mid-lane traction, while still allowing the ball to have a lot of back-end reaction. We've brought in Chris Vi and Verity Crawley to show you how the ball rolls going down the lane, along with their initial thoughts on the all-new Equinox Solid. All right, Verity, we drilled you 2 Equinox Solids. You're gonna throw them down the lane for the first time. Get a little loose. Give us your initial thoughts throwing the Equinox Solid.
Okay, we're gonna start with the pin down one. We're bowling on 46 feet, right?
Correct, 46 feet, fairly high volume. Pin down, a little lower flaring for Verity.
It's a good sign on 46 feet.
Yes, nice early mid-lane traction, very continuous.
And I actually wasn't planning on throwing it that far right, but it responded.
Okay, what's your move gonna be here on the next shot with this ball?
So I'm gonna make a 3 and 2, decently big move. We're not gonna throw it that far right though.
Very nice, nice. So now if you were to transition right to the pin-up ball, what would your next step be? What would your move be with that ball?
I'm gonna move again. This one probably is gonna have a little bit more pop down lane. So pin up one, I'm just gonna go 2 and 1 and see.
Okay.
So far, I'm already impressed because I bowled on this pattern a few times. Obviously, I have a lower rev rate compared to the guys, but the women's side, it's still higher. But on the higher volume stuff, I still tend to struggle. I find it harder to keep it in front of me. So when I miss right, normally on these higher volume and longer patterns, I normally 210.
Obviously, that read the lane right, just maybe still a little too far right. Let's make another little move, see what happens. Okay, your initial thoughts, we got a brand new cover stock, A2S, you know, pushes the limits on oil absorption. Just talk about your initial reactions to how the new cover stock adheres to the lane.
Initial thoughts is I'm gonna have possibly a strong asymmetrical that I'm actually gonna throw. Strong asyms are not necessarily something that I always go to, but initially it grabs the lane, it reads the mid lane very well, and it feels strong, but it still feels, obviously I've moved left a little bit already, and it feels like I'm still gonna be able to keep chasing it, which I like.
Okay, let's throw one more shot with the pin up, and then we'll move on and show them a comparison to the original Equinox and how the Equinox Solid compares. Doesn't get much better than that.
When I'm trying new bowling balls, it's always really important to see what happens when I miss, right? So when I miss right, when I miss left, what does the bowling ball do?
For sure. With the Equinox Solid, where do you see using this ball? Like right from the start, through some transition, or all the above?
Yeah, possibly all of the above. I definitely see myself using it on fresh, on the higher volume and on the longer patterns. Obviously, I want to throw it more and throw it on a variety of patterns. Like it might even have a very good chance for me on shorter stuff when I need to start to get left or when there's some urethane carry down.
Okay. All right, let's go get you an original Equinox and we'll show the viewers how they compare to each other.
Okay.
All right, Verity, now we're gonna give Storm Nation a little side-by-side comparison of the Equinox and the Equinox Solid. Kind of share, you know, with them what you think you're gonna see when comparing the two together.
So I'm going to expect the Solid to be earlier and actually to be more down lane based off what I've seen out of the Solid, and I started to chase it left a decent amount because of the earliness, whereas actually with this one right now, I think I'm going to have to be a little bit further right and then gradually start to move left. This one to me, once there's more of a defined spot down lane, I think it's going to be like decently responsive as we've seen out of the Equinox, but right now on fresh, I don't think it's going to be as early, it's going to be cleaner.
Correct. All right, let's see how they compare.
that was pretty good. That was actually where I 3/6-10'd when I first threw the Equinox Solid. So I've moved a decent amount with the Equinox Solid since then. So it's about 9 boards right.
Okay, now let's take the same pin-up Equinox Solid and just show them how different you're gonna play the lanes.
Okay, so we have Equinox Solid, and I'm moving 9 off where I was just now with the Equinox.
Those 2 pretty good shots. I don't know if we're gonna get much better takes on a true comparison there. Obviously with the tri-cylinder Solarion core, right, we have a cleaner veneer, we have a stronger veneer in the 2 balls. As you start to see transition occur with the Equinox Solid, is it safe to say that you should be able to go straight to the Equinox through those transition phases and not, see some of the hurdles people experience while they're experiencing transition?
Yeah, I think so, but I actually think I'm gonna stay in the Equinox Solid for longer than I normally would in a solid asymmetrical bowling ball. So I think you have both options. If you wanna get out of it and go to something cleaner, you can. But I also think, I'm already decently far left. I think I have this ability to be able to chase it with the solid one.
I agree. I really like the continuation of the Equinox Solid. Let's show the people one more time. Let's make another move left, and just to show them how much it will continue.
And remember, we're still on 46 feet.
Correct.
And high volume too.
Little left. Still picked up in the oil pretty good. The big thing with the Equinox, right, was made for wide variety of traditional oil length patterns, volumes, all kinds of bowler types. What we really heard through consumer feedback was, we want more strength, we want more of it. And I really believe our team's delivered here. And, from what I see, for you not using a lot of solid asymmetrical balls, I feel like this one's gonna be in your bag right away.
I agree. We got more hook, and I'm very excited. I think that everyone's gonna love it, right? It's gonna be for league bowlers, but I think I'm gonna use it a lot too. So I think everyone should give it a try.
All right, Chris, we just got Verity's thoughts, feedback, reactions to the new Equinox Solid. It's your turn to take the lanes. We drilled 2 balls.
Yep.
You want to tell Storm Nation the little differences between the 2 balls that you've laid out?
Yeah, so I kind of have my pin up, pin down-ish type of layouts. I think we're going to start with the weaker one here. It's a 5 1/4 inch pin, 3 pin to center of grip. So not something too strong. But then I have a stronger one that's a 4 3/4 inch pin. It's 4 1/2 from pin to center of grip. So definitely going to see a lot more flare out of that second one. It's going to be a bit stronger. So we'll chase that one left after we get done with this weak one.
All right, let's see how it rolls.
All right. Yeah, like I said, starting with the 5 1/4 inch pin one, and then we'll kind of go from there. Tough to beat right there. That's tough to beat.
Just come right out of the gate with a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's exactly what I like to see. Like Verity said, bowling on 46 feet, fairly high volume, and that was even maybe a fraction in, and it still had no problem kind of digging through that oil. Obviously still shaping, going through the pins, amazing.
So strong, asymmetrical, solid. For you personally, when do you normally see these types of balls, working for, a two-handed player, someone on the higher rev rate side of it?
Yeah, typically in like a scenario like this. I know a few years back we had the Masters pattern that was a little bit longer. We played a little bit further to the right. Just something where I typically don't like to shape these a whole lot, just because they tend to see the middle part of the lane so much, and they have a hard time continuing once that happens. But yeah, as you see, I mean, I'm already over here and standing 35 and having no problem to get this ball to go through the pin.
So stronger layout on the other one.
Yep.
Higher flaring. What kind of move are you going to make, and what are you looking to see it do differently as it goes down the lane?
Yeah, just obviously with this being such a long pattern and such high volume pattern, probably not going to have to move as much as I will on some other patterns. So maybe just like a 3 or a 4, since there hasn't been a whole lot of traffic on the lane. But I'm definitely still, you know, hoping to see the same thing, honestly, just seeing it kind of slow down as it goes through that oil, and just being able to keep going through the pins. I think that's the biggest key that I'm going to look for. Typically with the stronger layout, it's going to want to get a little bit more forward, but we'll see.
All right.
Yeah, let's try this one now. He said 4 3/4 inch pin, so we're going to go 4 with my feet here, just as a guess, and we're going to see. We'll see what it does. Not a bad guess.
That was a very good guess with the move.
Yeah.
Obviously, the stronger pin, higher flaring, you could see it get a little more forward.
Yeah.
You know, as I discussed with Verity, brand new A2S cover stock, you know, really kind of just pushing the limits on things with solid covers. You know, there's a lot of things that people say, solid covers, sanded, always very early. They get a little forward as you move left.
Yeah.
This ball seems to have something a little different. You know, just kind of explain to everybody, you know, what you're seeing that's different about A2S compared to some other solid, strong asymmetricals.
Yeah, I think it's that, it's not that hook at your toes type of big solid asymmetric. This has plenty of hook. As you can see, I mean, we're a high volume, long pattern, and we're, you know, in the left gutter, and there's only been 10 to 20 shots on this lane maximum. So it has plenty of engine in it. That cover stock really is, it's got a lot of traction in that oil, but it still shapes down lane, which is, it's an incredible to see. I mean, as you can see right here, you know, a 4 3/4 inch pin, plenty of flare on this bowling ball.
Yeah, nice separation.
Nice separation, and like I said, you know, I'm sliding in the left gutter, and it's still being able to shape and go through the pins pretty well. Definitely a bit rounder than the weaker one, which completely expect with the stronger layout. But it's you know, it's awesome to be able to see it continue through the pins from this far left.
Show Storm Nation, let's throw the same ball, the stronger
Yep.
ball, get your hand around it
Okay.
just a little more, and we can kind of show them where that mid lane traction begins and then how much it'll continue through
Yeah.
the pins.
Yeah, let's do it. We're gonna stand in the same spot, see if we can just get a little bit more shape down lane, maybe a fraction less ball speed, just to let it continue a bit more.
You can see extra
Yeah.
rotation, obviously a lot sharper change of direction.
Yeah.
You know, so you're able to manipulate it, you know, the overall performance of that layout just with some hand position tweaks. What bowler types do you really see loving this ball as it's the next evolution in the Equinox series?
Yeah, you know, when I first heard about it, I was kind of expecting it's like, all right, well, this is going to be maybe the lower rev rate, the higher ball speed, maybe a bowling center that just doesn't hook quite as much. But I feel like the more I throw it, that window, I feel like that it makes sense for people is getting larger and larger because, like I said, you know, higher rev rate, you know, I'm not super high ball speed anymore. And I'm still having no problems getting it to get through the lane and still being able to shape down lane. So honestly, I think anyone that loved the original Equinox, if they just want a little bit more hook, or, you know, they got now, you know, 100 games on their Equinox,
Yep.
Now they can play off of each other a little bit. I think this is a perfect addition to anyone and everyone that really wants one.
Well, perfect. It's a great segue. Let's get your Equinox.
Yeah.
And we'll do a little quick comparison.
Yeah.
Now we're going to show Storm Nation a little comparison between the Equinox Solid. We've chosen your weaker layout on the Equinox, and so we're going to compare it to the Equinox Solid with the weaker layout. What are your initial thoughts that are going to happen here when you throw the two compared to each other?
Naturally, it's just going to be cleaner throughout the lane. Bowling on this higher volume, longer pattern, I'm not expecting a super sharp motion down lane just because, you know, there's not a whole lot of friction on the lane for it to create that big shape that it's known for. but I definitely am going to see some more down lane shape than what we saw with the Equinox Solid. So a little bit cleaner through the front part of the lane, the middle part of the lane, just a little bit more change of directions, and hopefully you can kind of see that transition as it happens.
All right, let's throw the Equinox first.
All right. Okay, so like I said, the same weaker layout that I had on the first Equinox Solid I threw. Gonna stand about 5 further right than what I had for that Equinox Solid. So let's give it a go. Okay. Actually saw the middle of the lane a little bit better than I thought.
Yeah.
That Solarion core, it's going to still see that middle part of the lane, so not too surprising. Obviously, more shots are being thrown on the lane now, so you know, moving further right, not typically something I do.
Correct.
So we'll chase it a little bit left, and
yeah,
you know, it wouldn't surprise me if at some point we end up further left with that more down lane motion.
Yeah, you could definitely see it's a little cleaner through the front.
Yeah.
It did respond off the dry. Let's make a little move with it, throw it again, and then we'll go into the Equinox Solid right after that.
Yeah. I was surprised that one made it back in the pocket with that down lane motion.
Yeah, definitely. As you moved a little more into the oil, right, we definitely saw it push a little further. So now let's go to the same spot with the Equinox Solid, just to show how much earlier it is, but how it has the same down lane motion as the original.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting this one to even slow down before it even gets to that spot.
Correct.
And then hopefully we still have that same nice ball motion through the pins. Wow.
Definitely see
Yeah.
how it adheres to the lane much quicker.
Yeah, that was just a couple left, even just a fraction left of where I started with this. So that cover stock's digging in pretty good. I think we could probably take this weaker one and probably get pretty close to where I was with the stronger one.
Yeah, let's make the move, throw that one again, and then after that we'll kind of recap your thoughts on the two balls.
Absolutely. All right, yeah, we're just gonna go to where I threw the stronger layout and see what it gives me here. Pretty good.
That's why you're a professional, right?
Yeah.
You make the moves, you do the transition, the results happen. Okay, obviously, two balls have a lot of similarities, but they're also very unique. Why is the Equinox and the Equinox Solid such a good 1-2 punch for the people out there?
Well, I think it's the shape that they both make. Very similar shapes, just in different parts of the lane. If you have the original Equinox and it's just not quite slowing down in the right spot, it wants to get behind the headpin, but it's really close, then you got the Equinox Solid. Or if you're throwing the Equinox Solid, you're bowling fantastic. It starts hooking a little bit too early, not enough down lane motion. Obviously that core is doing the right thing on the lanes. So why not just go to an original Equinox? It's going to be a little bit cleaner, a little more down lane motion, but that core is still going to be reading the same, you know, as the Equinox Solid did. So I think it's a pretty simple 1-2 punch.
Our R&D team delivered. I'm really excited to, you know, see what this ball is going to do in everybody's hands this October.
Yeah, I mean, we've sold 1 million of the Equinoxes in the shop, so I'll definitely be ordering a bunch for our consumers as well.
Well, thanks for sharing your thoughts, Chris.
Yes. We're bowling on 46 feet here at Storm HQ, and this thing is having absolutely no problem seeing the middle part of the lane and continuing through the pins really well. Another thing I noticed was that A2S cover stock staying nice and dull, so that oil absorption is at a pretty much an all-time high. So I'm super excited for this thing. We were even able to keep chasing it left, and it had no problem continuing as the lanes transitioned to still see the middle part of the lane, but still have that energy retention to go through the pins really well.
So this one's definitely stronger than the original. Overall, it's earlier, But what I found was the original Equinox, oftentimes to bowl on fresh, I was hitting it with surface. And this is where I feel like this one is going to be better. I'm going to be able to use it on fresh. When there's a bit more oil, I think also it's going to have a better look. So for me, it's going to be using this one first, the Solid, and then transitioning to the other one as the lanes start to open up. But what I found about the Solid actually was that I could use it for a lot longer period than I thought. Oftentimes with strong asymmetrical bowling balls, I will use it and there's a short window and then I have to get out of it. But I was actually very impressed throwing this one that myself and Chris were bowling, and obviously he's breaking down the lane with a higher rev rate, and I was still able to chase it left for a longer period than I thought I would be able to.
Verity, Chris, we've shown Storm Nation all about the brand new Equinox Solid, its new cover stock, it going down the lane. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with them?
I'm excited for it. We've definitely got more hook. I see myself using it on some longer patterns and also some higher volume patterns, which obviously a little lower rev rate, lower ball speed for myself. So I feel like it's really going to help me.
Chris?
Yeah, same. Super excited for it. Typically, I'm not one to throw a lot of high-end bowling balls, as you know, but this one I feel like I'm going to get a lot of use out of. It's super strong, but it's still, you know, it has that down lane motion that I like to see a lot. So yeah, that new cover stock is something I'm super excited for. So I'm ready to get it out onto the lanes and out on tour.
Well, thank you both. Storm Nation, please visit your local Storm VIP Pro Shop and get yours October 17th.